Hello everyone, welcome to the walkthrough for COTA. Um, we'll do the same thing as usual. We'll go through from the inside to start, and then we'll do a full lap after that from the outside, so you can see have a better look of the line. That will go corner by corner, and we'll go around the track, and we'll try to help you to find some braking reference and all the trip and tip that I could give to you. This week the race will be in the wet, but the walkthrough is in the dry. We'll talk about the wet as we go in the walkthrough, what to be careful, all those things. But the racing line is pretty much similar. It's the same thing in ACC. We don't have wet racing line. In real life, we'll not use the same racing line in the wet. But for ACC, we do use the same thing. We're just using pretty much less curve. Everywhere where there's painting will be slippery in the wet. So keep that in mind. But to explain the line, it's better to just show the lap in the dry. So at least there's less variable than the wet. So wet conditions changing all the time depending on how many cars are in the track. So the time will not be too helpful because it always depends. So keep in mind every track, everywhere I'm gonna mention where that I brake, what I'm using for reference. It dependent from car to car, and it's also dependent of your field of view, your setup that you have. So it's just a reference for you to try it, and then you just need to find what's worked the best for your car and your setup that you're playing on. So the lap is at 205.4, was done in the hot lap mode with 20-degree air temperature. So let's take a look at the lap. Go back to the start, but take a look from the outside this time. And this time, take a look at the throttle, brake, steering input. go to all the corner, and if you have any question at any point, just ask. Don't need to wait at the end. We could take a look at your question anytime during the walkthrough. So coming to the first corner, going uphill and coming out from the front straight. So what I'm using for my reference, so if I'm from the inside, will be just before the 100-meter line. So you have the 100-meter board on the fence on the right, and we also have on the painting, you have the line that's just a line. So right here, that's where I'm gonna start to brake. So we could brake pretty late even though we are coming really fast because we're going uphill. So we're using the gravity to help us to slow the car down. It's also really hard. You don't see the apex of the corner until you get to the top of the hill. It's pretty steep there, so you need to practice it, and you'll see during the lap here, if you're playing on the screen, there's a lot of corners that are probably really hard to see the apex. So just something to work, something for you. I'm never playing it on the screen, but I know from people that I talk with that some of them are really hard to see.
That's the corner most people miss in the rain the most.
First one?
Because the turn one, coming up to the turn one, because they just like don't look. They brake and they turn, and then they just kind of float in the middle of the corner.
Yeah.
And they miss it by a long shot.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you can use as a reference to sort of guide yourself at the top of that hill? I see the little white thing and
big ass curb.
Okay.
It's paved completely different than everything else. It's literally a big crown in the track that like just says the middle of it is right here.
Yeah. So just be careful when the race will be in the roulette. So be placing the car here is probably not a good idea. I'll probably stay on the pave, not going on the curb or the green stuff. You're just probably gonna log the wheel and trigger a bunch of ABS and just not stopping. So you'll need to brake probably a little bit before this, but that will be general rule for the rain. Just avoid the paint, the color from the curb, avoid all that in the track. It's coming here, gonna brake hard, and then you get to the top of the hill, and you'll need to start releasing the brake when you get to the top. Try to get some weight back on the front to get the car turning. Still braking hard there, but I'm gonna release it soon.
Yeah, you see the just big bow in the road. Like, you literally shouldn't miss this.
Oh, no, I was more talking like, because I noticed when he was coming up the hill, and also on the rubber marks on the road, you don't want to hit the very outside of that because it'll throw the car off the road. It looks like he's aiming for the that yellow crane in there before you can actually see the apex. Just to sort of get the car going on the right path.
Yeah.
The road also dips in the middle, so that also should be a big helper, right? Like you can see it right here. There's a big dip in the road, so that should be like it should be there.
Yeah. So here you see the apex from here, so should
people
be good.
die a lot too because of that. Everyone's driving up the hill and they all try to brake in the same place, even though we've said 1,000 times to brake in different places. So just be careful when folks are following you or you're following other folks because they don't judge the hill well, and then they don't judge the line change well, and so they end up just in the middle of the road.
Yeah, and it's a really wide track, so here there's a lot of space, so a lot of people could try to be on the inside air and just overshoot the corner easily because they're gonna try to brake later than you, but you're just gonna overshoot. So just be careful. Even though the track is wide, you still need to make the corner. But it is really tempting to try it, but it's a place to try. Don't get me wrong, this is a great corner to pass, but just be careful. There, you want to go close to the curb, but you'll see a lot of time, and we have those big orange sausage that will bounce your car like crazy. Those you don't want to touch it anywhere on the track. You could go on this, See, I'm not even touching it, but I don't need to go to take the chance to go on the orange curve. And anywhere, a lot of plays in the track, we're gonna have those on the outside of the corner. If you go on those, you just trigger like TC like crazy, and you just bouncing the rear of the car, and then just lose all your speed for your exit. So be careful on those. You don't want to touch it. You want to go on the red and white curve, but not on the orange one. Here, so go. Almost touch it there. It was really close. So to prepare for corner number 2, you don't need to go all the way left here. It's coming fast from you, so like middle of the track is plenty, like a little bit more, but even that you don't need to go that far, and you'll be good to go. It's a long corner. So in the dry, you want to get on the curve here. And you could even go a bit more than that. You could put your right tire over the curb and it's still fine. You just don't cross the white line with your left tire. And this one is flat, this corner is flat, but in the rain, depend on how wet it is, so you might have to do a lift here in the rain. And when I try, after that practice today, I tried a little bit of on the house of practice, and I couldn't touch those curb here because fast corner.
The car. The
Yeah.
grip level changes too much.
Yeah, I was losing the car every time. So, like I said before, the rain, just don't go on it. Same thing for the rest of this section, like 3, 4, 6. You don't want to touch the curve in the rain. They look like they're really slippery compared to the track. So, coming to turn 3. So, really fast left corner, and it's blind, like right here. Don't see it. Don't know where to go. So what I'm using, I want to place my car like aligned with that sign before where it says Circuit of the America. So I want to be underneath there. So we'll go slowly and you'll see it. So I want to place my car like I'm starting to turn here to be like I'm pretty much aligned with it. I'm starting to turn. See, I'll be aligned for the first corner. And in the dry, you want to cut as much as possible those corners. And this section is really bad for track limit, but there's a bunch of play on this track that you could get a track cut easily here. If you cross the white line with your tire, with your outside tire, you'll get a cut for sure, and they are really strict. So be careful, but in the dry, if you want to push the limit, you need to go as slow as possible. So here I still...
In the race, it probably wouldn't hurt you to just give up a little going in.
Yeah.
Just to be really accurate going through and not worrying about the limit.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to stumble through it and just be like, oh shit, and then once you're out of sequence, it's hard to get back on. So, a little bit of a lift or just kind of get the car kind of settled in so that you get through the complex. No one's going to pass you through here. It's too quick even in the rain. So, unless the guy in front makes just a huge mistake, you're pretty safe.
Yeah.
And so you can just be accurate rather than trying to push all the way through.
Yeah. This section like is all about a rhythm. It's like a Silverstone. It's based on those corners like Maggot, Bickett, and Chapel. The same thing. There's a lot of corner here. They are from famous tracks. So this section is the same concept. So you just fast 3 turn, even 7 and 8 or 7 is still pretty fast. But you'll see, you just need to get to the rhythm to get it. So you just like, I'll go slowly and then we'll do a full speed again. So you just, first one, I think did I stay flat here? I think so. It will just a lift. So I'll go. This one is flat. Here I'm tapping the brake. Turn, tap again. Turn the car. Tap again. And then this one. So this turn 6, it's double apex. So you come in the entry, this is your first apex you get here. So you tap the brake, turn the car, and then you let the car go just a little bit wide. So you go, car go patient, and then you clip the second apex right here. And then again here, just a tab of. Again, just a tab of the brake. And then you stay on the right to prepare for turn 8. So it's really take that whole sequence like just a complex. It's just I try to treat it as one part instead of trying to figure it out like every corner is just similar to, like I said, Silverstone, Suzuka, all those turns, that fast left and right turns. That's what I do. So we'll take a look at here, turn 3 to turn 7, exit of turn 7, full speed. Just take a look. So just a really quick tab of the brake. Okay. Then you have your second apex, like full throttle, tab of the brake. And even next turn could be part of it. It's like just a really big section of turn that's coming to you really fast. So when you exit, is there any question on those like 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 before I continue to 8 and 9? It's a really fast one. And
Oh, actually, I have a question for folks.
Yep.
Where's the hidden breakpoint in this sequence of corners?
Does
Would
it
it
have
be-
anything to do with the tent?
Hmm?
Is that the one with like the red tent? I was over hearing people say that today.
No, that's not hidden. Where's
Oh.
the hidden breakpoint in that section we just went through? It's only 3 corners. Just guess one.
The very last one? that we
Oh
just did?
no, other one. It's the very first one. It's actually turn 4, between 4 and 5. Like the deceleration point is between those two sections, and most folks that's where they fuck it up, because it's right where the Circuit of America signs are. Like in the rain, it's a little later. In the dry, it's a little earlier. And it's kind of a hidden point because it's kind of between two places where the road is already curving. So it's a unique spot where like the brake zone isn't straight, but you need to make the car straight. And so a lot of people screw that up. When you're in big crowds, you need to be aware of that because the leader will brake around where the black curved spot is. And you need to be braking earlier or lifting really early to give those cars time to kind of slow down so that you can coast in behind them. Most folks don't, and then we have a disaster right here because they try to charge in and they're just trying to like F1 it through the whole sequence, and these aren't F1 cars. So they die. So that's why it's called the hidden breakpoint. If you think about the hidden breakpoint here, you almost never have a problem.
so I don't really have braking reference from all the complex here for
Yeah, it's
brake.
a feel thing there,
Yeah.
and that's why it's hidden, right? Like, normally I would say, oh, brake at the white line, or brake where the big post is, or brake where blah, blah, blah. But, like, there's really not one good one, but you got to brake.
Yeah.
And so, it gets lost amongst everything when there are multiple cars because this plus spray plus all the other things we constantly talk about, your brake point's going to vary. You need to kind of get used to getting the nose settled in as you get in here so that you're able to stay with the cars that you're following so that they don't just get away from you, but you also just don't smash into the back of them because you didn't know where to slow down.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna watch it one more time, give you an idea. It's pretty much when I try to get the car straight. I'm straightening the wheel, but there's no real good reference from.
So the whole braking is basically just to rebalance and transfer the weight, right?
Correct.
It's not any like slowing down or anything. It's more just
Yeah.
shifting the weight.
Yeah, it's a balancing thing, right? Your brakes are for balancing the car as much as slowing down. And in this section, you've done a lot of the slowing in the corner before because the corner's already turned, right? So you've put some load in the car and it's already kind of naturally slowed. So this sequence is so fast, you're not braking to like go to a low speed corner. You're just balancing for a high speed corner. So you want to just get the car settled a little bit, get it through that sequence, and then exit the other side.
Just keep practicing it and you'll just get better at it. That's the only thing I could say about that one. But take it slowly at the beginning and then try to push your limit. So coming to 8, this is another corner that's easy to get a try cut because you want to. You'll see. Let's go slowly. So I'm gonna brake again. So a little bit more braking than the rest. But you want to hug the curb. Try to cut as much as possible to prepare for the exit of 9. But if you cut too much, if you put your wheel, I think it's a white line here, it'll get a track cut. So you need to be. So here I got a little bit moment. And this exit here is really tricky. It's really easy to get your rear of the car really loose on the exit. So you need to be patient here. After this one, the next one that you see in front of me, turn 9. So right here I'm full throttle. Let's go slowly. So you'll see, going full throttle, turning the car, I do a lift here, and then patient. I got this one. I got pretty good, but you need to be careful if you try to do this corner full speed. Just gonna, the rear is just gonna snap on you every time. Like this exit here, it's really tricky. And track limit are on the exit, it's also very strict. So if you pass the line, like the white line here, it's track cut. It's really that should be the name of the track, like track cut. See, there are so many plays. I don't know how they are in the rain right now. It might be a bit better in the rain. Give you a little bit more room, but still.
Stop and go of the Americas.
Yeah.
The other thing you want to pay attention here is the track undulation. Like, COTA's weird because it's really smooth, but it's got a lot of undulation. So people kind of ignore the fact that you're driving over big ass bumps, basically. And so going through turn 9, it's not flat,
No,
right?
not at
It
all.
goes up and then it goes down and then it goes up and then it goes down.
So,
And so trying to get the car to transition through here is really tricky because it's always loading and unloading. And then at the key part where you want to get on the power, there's a huge load spot. So you have to roll the car through and then wait to get on the power because the car needs to have time to settle back down as you're going down the hill. If you're on power too early, you see you just drive over a crest and then you drive out to where the stands are and then you get a track cut. And if you're too late, you get railroaded as you're going down there because the guys who are more gradual on the power than you just kind of accelerate by you. So again, advice for most folks when you're following, especially in big fucking crowds, this is where a lot of cars get bunched up because they'll overspeed heading into 9 out of 8 and then they won't be ready for the transition and then they'll either lift or they'll try to accelerate through and they all just kind of bunch in together. So you want to make sure that you've got a good strategy for approaching turn 9 in a group because you can easily drive into a crowd.
yeah. It's also, if you get a good exit here, next one will be a big braking for the hairpin. It's a good place to get a pass on someone. So be patient here on the throttle, especially in the rain. It's so easy to slip here. Like, I will probably not use as much curve in the rain here. I'll need more tests to see if how wet it is. So it will depend on every lap. So
It sounded almost like what you were saying, Davin, is that it would be highly beneficial for people to jump on HOP and practice in groups.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, because this
I'm
is
pretty
like
sure
where
that's what it sounded like.
yeah, no, seriously, because what ends up happening is that everyone tries to do this by themselves and they kind of stumble through it and barely make it. And because it's such a quick section of the track, the first time they do it in a group, they smash into the cars in front of them because they don't really know how to gradually bleed speed off. They just kind of freak out when they realize they're going too fast. So the more you can chase cars through this section, the easier it'll be.
yeah, in section like 3, 4, 5, the fast, like sort of Silverstone turn, if you brake too hard while turning there, you're just gonna lose the car if you panic because on the car in front of you and just catch it, you're gonna spin your car. So be careful, following someone there.
Especially because you'll see cars that will drop it on the outside and spin across the track. or they'll drop it across the outside and they'll kind of get sucked off the track and then cut back on. So you need to have a really good, sense of perception of where you're going through there and like know where to get on the throttle. So if you see obstacles ahead of you, you don't just accelerate right into it. Because I see a lot of people just kind of being dumb and they just accelerate like their car's not even there and they drive right into it when they saw it like just barely losing it over the crest or like other things like that.
We'll continue. So exit 9, be careful on the exit, and turn 10 will be flat, so we don't see it, not even here, but here we're gonna see it. You could cut over the curb a bit. There's a dip there. Some car doesn't really like it, so you don't need to cut as much. You could take it like a little bit wider. Instead of going over the curb, you could just be like close to here. You don't need to cut it very much. That much is not gonna gain anything here. So yeah, you could still hear it in my car. No, maybe not. Okay, going to the airplane. So if you get a good exit here, this is another good spot to try to overtake someone. And in the dry, I'm using as much track as possible, so right wheels are on the red and on the green that's coming next. Trying to use as much to open the corner, and what I'm gonna use for my braking is the 100-meter board. So you have I'm not using the 100-meter board on the fence. I'm using the first white line that's coming on the green. So see first line that's coming after it changed to the green. This is the 100-meter. But if there is a car in front of you, you still have the fence to help you, because the car in front will just cover the line if it's there. So here in the rain, just don't go as wide. Stay on the pave. When you touch the brake here, it's really slippery. Just the rear is starting to slide left and right, so be careful with that. So 100-meter, probably a little bit before in the rain, because it's coming so fast here. So braking hard, and then start to turn the car, and you want to clip. See, we still have that big triangle depth bump here. You don't want to hit those, not at all. You want to get as close as possible, but you see how big they are. They're just gonna send you like on the other side of the road. You're not gonna get acceleration. And on the other side, again on the exit, we still have those orange one. We have 4, yeah, and those are really bad too. Like, you're gonna lose if you touch those on the exit. You're gonna lose all of your speed for the straightaway, and if someone is behind you, you're just gonna have an easy time to pass you down here.
That also send your car flying into the air.
Yeah, like it will bump the rear of the car like so bad. They are really aggressive, the curve here.
Did anybody touch on track conditions, or excuse me, track limits here?
Yeah, oh yeah, we've been talking about that.
It's a big no-no.
Coming here, like turn the car, let's close, back on throttle early on the apex to get a good exit. And you could use the first part of the curb, it's fine, don't use more than that. Then we have that long straight that is good for us in the race. If you need to do change or your tire, you have plenty of time here to do your changing for everything you need for your pit stop. So don't try to do.
Quick question about the last corner's exit. In the wet, I've been really struggling trying to get the power down out of this corner. Is it better to take an early apex in the wet, or is it just something you have to deal with and push through?
Not sure. I will have to try what's better and see the delta different, but
It's hard to ever really recommend an early apex there though, because like early apex equals early off, and you've got depth curves on the other side. So like, why wouldn't you just slow down a little more, and then make sure you have the rear traction by slowing down more?
Yeah.
That's a guaranteed good exit versus an early apex, which might lead to understeer or an exit that is compromised on the other side.
Yes, early apex generally throws you wide, and you will find the orange sausage curbs.
I will do
Gotcha.
like a
Okay.
later apex instead. I will just turn it later
Yeah,
to have
just slow
straight.
down a bit more, and you'll guarantee a later apex, right? Like most of the time, if folks are struggling with traction in the rain, because their entry was too quick, and so they need to actually slow down a little more.
Yeah.
All right, understood.
Like real life, you will not use that line at all. You'll go like further in and then cut the line because you don't want to be on the racing line in the wet. But ECC doesn't have that feature in the game, so you're using the same line in the wet. Like probably everybody will trigger TC after that one in the rain. There's no other really other choice. Going flat. Don't go over the line even if it's on the straight. You can still invalidate your lap. I stay close here because I'm trying to maximize every bit of it. But you don't need to be here during the line because if you cross that white line, it still invalidate your lap. I did it like a couple of times like here while braking. I crossed the line a bit and it invalidated my lap. And see how close I'm at the left wheel R for I could still invalidate the lap like really easy. And in the rain, like don't brake on this. I try it, and you just sliding everywhere. You feel the rear want to give up, want to pass you. So
I can guarantee you that I've driven the Merc here in the wet, and if you brake here hard like you're supposed to,
yeah,
the car does turn around.
yeah. So there's a big
I mean,
difference.
on the paint, yes, for sure it will.
Yeah. Even on, like right now, with the setup that I'm driving, if I touch the curb, I'm just like almost losing the rear. The corner at 19, yeah, was losing the rear every time.
Oh God, yeah, 18, 19, dude, it's like a slick, like it's like a painted parking lot. I can't even describe it. It's the worst.
Yeah. Okay, in the dry here, what I'm using for braking reference, I have a couple things that help me. So it's before the 100 meter and after the 150. So I have the red 10 here and I have the line for the 150 meter that's telling me you're gonna brake soon. So it's just
You could
like a
give
reminder.
yourself a bit of a 1-2 count before if you really needed to.
Yeah, so I brake a little bit, like it's almost between both. So we'll go slowly. So pass it, and then I was on the brake, not far after. Like, yeah, if we look from the outside, like I'm at the line, but from the inside you don't see it anymore because it's so close. So that's my braking. So in the dry, I'm gonna brake, stay on the green paint. There's enough grip in the dry to get it, and again, the next corner, like 12, you have your friend again. You want to be close, like I said, for all the other corner, but you don't want to hit those. And again, on the outside, the exit, we still have those 3 sausage that will bounce your car and kill all your speed. They are still there.
Before we go any further, Landry, can we talk about perspective a little bit here real quick? We have a few new guys that are in the rookie series. I guess we got Spencer Fader and Matt Quant are here. Now, one of the things that we're talking about, guys, now, if you notice his seating position, his view may not be the exact same view that you use in your car. So you're going to have to experiment with some of the types of call outs that we're using, like the red tint that he talked about here on coming down the back street. It might be that you can brake a little bit earlier or a little bit later. So you're going to have to test the waters to make sure of where your reference point is. And it's called a reference point because it's never perfect. It's just somewhere to remind you that you're getting into the braking zone.
And for those of you that are playing on a screen, just a single monitor, this whole section, next sector, sector 3, it's really hard to see the apex because this section of the track is all the slow corner I'm playing in VR, so it's easy to turn my head and just see the apex. For this drag, it's like really good, but you'll need to on the screen. I know it will be hard for like this one, and I know like 16 is really hard to see the apex on a flat screen. So try to be careful on that. You'll need to find maybe some reference to know where to start turning to get the apex every time, but I cannot help you on those because I'm not playing on the screen. I've never tried it. I'll always play on VR. So if someone when we get there, if someone have some trick for a flat screen, just you could share it.
Proper field of view would be the beginning, and then from there we can experiment with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, a big part I think, because I'm on a big single screen. Big part of me is like confidence on the entry line I take, because it's math, right? If I slow down at point A and turn at point B, I should be by the apex at C. So I use my entries to kind of determine whether I'm going to make the apex or not, because math. So try to really have a good place to start braking, and then that'll set up everything else.
Yeah. Okay, we'll go slowly for this one. Braking hard in a straight line as long as possible. And then we really just clip the apex, back full throttle.
Can we go back to the middle of the corner for it real quick? I wanted to remind some of the newer guys too from the inside.
Inside?
Yeah, from inside the car. Notice how much steering he has here, okay? His hands are vertical, so basically he's got it rolled over to 90 degrees. Now, as he gets to the apex of the corner, watch his hands. He kind of adds a little extra, but he's still rolling off the brake at the same time. He gets back on power, and immediately his hands start to unwind the steering, which is extremely important, especially in the slower, tighter corners. I've seen a bunch of you guys lately starting to really get back on the power with the wheels still cranked over hard, and you're causing your own understeer. You may not have thought I've been around, but I've been watching.
Larry is always there. Yeah, take a look at the hand again. We'll do it full speed. You'll see it happen really quickly, but it's there to help.
Basically, the back of the car is helping you finish the corner.
Yeah. Coming to turn 13. So this one, we have the white line that's just in front of me. This one, I think you could see the mouse, right?
Yeah, it's there.
Okay, so yeah, that line here, that's your braking for turn 13. And exit after, like after that we have 14, 15, 16, but it's really just, there are named as corner, but take it as one corner, not three, because after this one you'll be on throttle until 16. And this one will test your patience on throttle. We'll see who can be patient before applying the throttle on this exit here. It's takes so long before you could put it back, the power down on this corner, and that's true for everyone that will drive there. It's not because if you think you're like late on throttle here, you're not wrong. It's take time. So take a look at the throttle after.
Hey, Michael, wait, before you play that all the way through, question for the group. Why does it take so long to get on power through here?
Car's unstable until you get all the way through the corner. Get on throttle too early, you're either going to understeer or oversteer.
Part of it, but there's a simpler answer.
You have the wheel turned, so why throttle?
No, quite there. I'll give you a hint. It's
There's
the
more
shape of it.
The corner ends farther than you think.
Yes, Henry.
Perfect
Yes,
answer.
perfect answer. You see how long this damn corner is? There is so much corner to go through. So getting on the power early in a big ass long corner doesn't do anything because the road is still turning.
This is about as long as going through the last corner at Monza.
Yeah, it's literally a big fucking U.
Yeah, like
So corner type shapes matter. That's kind of one of the important things. Like when folks are, someone was asking earlier, like how do I learn a new track? And one of the things is like look at the shape of the U. If it's a long shape or a slow shape, like or a short shape, that'll tell you a lot about what you need to do.
This is just like a miniature version of 17, 18, 19, 20.
Yeah, yeah. They kind of mirror each other in a really frustrating way.
Yeah.
yeah, you see like 13 is here, this 14, but when you look at the dog line, it's just like one corner here.
Yeah,
It's not.
yeah.
Don't take this at two corners. It's you break here, you wait, and then you power back, and then
For the
again for
most part, the
15.
steering angle is pretty much the same all the way through this corner. Maybe a slight adjustment here and there, but just to allow the car to do its job for against the first apex, floating out to the outer edge of the track, which you could consider a second apex if you wanted to call it that, and then you get close to the third or second true apex. There
Yeah.
would be just a big smooth curve all the way around.
Yeah.
Maintenance throttle, or at least enough to keep the car rolling at a decent speed, probably would be okay. But remember, the more throttle that you put in with the amount of steering that's going to be needed here, can overwhelm the front tires, especially in the rain.
Yeah.
So we'll go slowly and take a look at the throttle input here. You'll see how. So we'll go slow, and then I'll do full speed after, and you can see how long it takes before we get back to full power. This is half the speed. So braking again. Don't want to touch the orange thing. The orange sausage there. It's not the biggest, not as big as the other one, but still, you just want to go on the curve, don't to unbalance the car
Okay.
on the exit. Slowly, I'm getting back on throttle. Let's see, like playing between 50 and 80, then back for throttle.
Stop here for a second. This same sequence should tell you the same thing. The road is constantly turning, so I can't use a lot of full throttle for a long time because the road is constantly turning the whole time. So maintaining momentum through the sequence is more important than full throttle and squirting left and right because you're turning more than you're going forward.
Yeah. So let's take a look at again at just 13 and 14, full speed, and take a look at the throttle again. So even there at the end, you got a little slide on the
Yeah,
rear.
there's a big wiggle right there. You got to compensate for.
Yeah. So it's really easy to lose the rear, especially in the rain. It will be wet, so just gonna be extra careful and patient and be gentle on your throttle input here because it's just how it is. This corner, you're still like turning a lot to finish to get, but you want to get at it on the power as soon as possible because you want to go fast. But sometimes if you go too soon, it's not gonna be faster. You're just gonna lose more time because gonna have to catch. So even here, I still have to catch here. See,
Yeah, but that's a little bit of a Mercedes thing too, because the back end wants to kind of wiggle around a lot because the Mercedes really doesn't like a lot of weight shift.
yeah, yeah, it could be car dependent. So.
But all the cars don't like to do it in the wet, that's for sure.
Next corner, 15 is it's not the real corner. The real corner will be 16, and this one will be really hard to see on the screen for your apex here. You're not gonna see it. So if we take a look, you see the corner. We're coming down here, but we're still on throttle here. You're gonna brake like around here. We'll go on the inside after. So 15 is like your brake reference for it. So you brake and then you cut it back like the corner, and again we have the orange thing, big pointy one, and we have it on the outside. We still have those 3-1 that will again bounce your car, kill your speed that you need. The next section 17, 18, it's not a straight, but you need to carry a lot of speed to those turns. If you lose it all here, someone will be pushing you on the back. So be careful to not go on this. Again, we're gonna race in the red, so we should not even be close to be on those because you're just gonna slide anyway. So let's go from the outside. So coming to 15 here, like I'm starting to brake like where right there. Just before you get starting to brake, try to have the car as straight as possible. So I'm going, and then we'll have late apex, turn sharp at the end to go close on the curb, but not hitting that triangle. See, I don't even want to go close to it. Don't want to get killed by those. Then on your exit, you use a red and white curb, but no more than this. This was really close to. So this is as much as you want to do. Because if you oversteer, power oversteer at the end, and the rear could hit those curves, which is gonna be pain. So let's watch from 13 full speed. Get here, patient. Once you get to 15, then you brake.
Is it possible to use a slightly wider approach for the second half of that?
Like 16?
Or is it
15,
is it
16?
just too much steering towards the end of it?
I think it could be
Back
a
up-
little
back
bit
up
wider.
just a little
there.
bit further. Like slightly wider, say a half a car or slightly wider to the right of this apex on the left here.
Yeah,
Would that be beneficial, or is it just making the braking marker or brake zone too short before you turn in?
I don't want to. You could be a little bit. I don't want to be too much because someone will dive on the inside if there's someone there for sure. It's gonna look
Okay,
like
yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking.
you open the door a lot for this because this is an easy corner for someone to dive in for sure for 16. So, but yeah, it could be a bit wider. Let's see. Oh.
Yeah, if you can get alongside someone before they turn left, they're kind of dicked.
The main reason I asked that is because you did it today at HOP.
Yeah, it did.
I was talking to Matt about it, and Matt was like, I can't quite make the turn. And I said, well, go just a little wider. 3 laps later, my Davin just blows by in between the two
Yep.
corners. And I was like, oops.
Yep, I saw him go wide. I was like, well, I'm just gonna go here then. Bye.
Oh yeah, it's easy there. Now coming 17, 18, we have it's like I'll count as one corner, but you have 4 apex on this one. So I think that's the first time we got this. It's really fast, but also you need to hit those 4 apex on one corner. I'll say it like that. If we go from the outside, you'll see it really good.
Yeah, this is actually the biggest U-turn I've ever seen.
Yeah, just about you. So you see you have your first apex here, then you let the car go. Second, go again. Third apex, you have 4 apex there. So the turn is not just like big circle turn. They made it like, but think of it like just one turn, like one big perfect circle almost. But because they put like a straight here, it looked like we need to hit the apex 4 times, but try taking as one corner. It's not 2 corners, it's just one big corner.
Excellent use of the video, Landry. That looks really cool there, doing it that way.
Thank you.
Has anybody got any questions while we're going through any of this stuff? It sounds awful quiet in the background, except for me and a few others.
I mean, I'm mostly just trying to pay attention to the line and what the throttle and braking inputs are.
I have one question.
Yeah.
On our track map, the corner 15 is the second part is marked as 15, and you were mentioning 15, 16 I mean, I know it's not a big deal, kind of messes up just the rest, but like when we on a map we have corner 15, that's actually 16, right? Then the way Michael you were kind of
I use
saying it.
a map on Google. I didn't check the map from the Discord.
Okay.
I should have used that one.
Yeah, we have one in our track map channel. So 11 is
Yeah.
at the very top on the left-hand side before the long back straight.
Yeah.
12, and then 13, 14, and then
See,
15.
they don't count
It
15 on
yeah,
your
it
market.
kind of doesn't count the little left-hander that I was talking about as far as trying to go slightly wide.
Yeah. Yeah, like here.
Yeah, that's 15 down at the bottom there. So
So on the
depending
map
on
that
which one you're looking at, yeah.
the map that I was looking was taking this corner like 15, and here it's only 17 and 18. So yeah, it's a little bit different, but I could use that one.
Yeah, they gave up one, so they got to give one, right?
Yeah. Just a second. Okay, so for the 4 apex corner here, I'm gonna start turning, and you'll need to lift here. I did a small tap of the brake, and that might be the car. I was just feeling good to get some grip on the front. You don't need to tap here. You could just do a lift. I think pretty much all the cars should, in the dry, should be able to do just a lift. So in the wet, you'll do a lift for sure. Maybe the brake, but you'll need to be careful because you're turning a lot and trying to brake at the same time. But if you brake, it's like just a tiny amount, like you see it here. So it's probably just gonna be a bigger lift. We'll see in the wet. Let's go. So I do lift. You need to be patient, and then you back full throttle to the end, and then you stay full throttle until next corner. So the crucial thing that you need to have here is knowing when to get back on throttle, because you don't want to get back on throttle and lift again, because you're going to lose so much time before corner 19 that it's just going to kill you. So we'll go full speed and you'll see just it's pretty big lift, and then you need to be patient to get back on throttle to make sure that you're going to stay full throttle once you hit it. So first apex, you stay on throttle, you lift between 1 and 2, you wait, and then you have your 3 and 4 your flat. Don't try to exit too wide on the left, like I was, maybe a little bit more than half, but you don't go on the curve here, because next corner 19 is coming so fast for you that you don't have time to go all the way out on the left and coming back, cutting on the right to prepare for the braking point, because you're gonna have to brake. The car will not be straight when you're gonna try to brake. And in the rain here, I was losing the car a lot. Like right now, I did my first practice today. I think the wheel was touching the curb here a little bit, because still like turning a car, because so fast, you see, just go slowly. The car never get like fully straight on a brake, so I'm still turning, preparing the car. I have a little bit of turn while braking, so I think I was touching a little bit of the curb while turning. In the rain, I was just spinning every time here. In the dry, it's fine because we have a lot of grip, but in the rain here, it's really tricky. So be really careful.
You got to get the decel done real early so that the car's nose is real turned in.
Yeah.
Like, it's the most important thing is to make sure the nose is in here. Because if the nose is in, you'll make it. But if the nose isn't in, the car will never turn.
Yeah. So what I'm using in the dry to my braking reference is that length here. That's what I'm using. You have the 52 that's close, so it's just before I like when it gets to my side view, because right when I'm here, I'm looking for the corner. I'm not looking over here. So with my side view from when I see it here, that's what I'm using for my braking reference in the drive. Coming here, you brake hard, you try to turn the car, really fast corner again. We have that orange curve here. With the MG, if I made a mistake here and I hit that curve, I'm fine with it. Car could handle it. But mid-engine here, if you hit those, you probably end up wide somewhere there. So be careful.
Yeah, and the curbing on this right-hand side, that red and white is normal. The next red and green is even worse, and then you're out in the marbles. So remember notice how the severity of the curbing gets taller as you go. So you're okay on the red and white, but the red and green is a big no-no because it's really going to upset the back of the car, specifically on the traction control.
Yeah, and this corner, the exit, the track limit is the end of the curb. So you go past the white line that is here for this corner. You could have your left wheel on the curb here and all be good. So this corner you could use a little bit more track, but other place in the track will be the white line. And this one is the curbing, the end of the curbing. See, I don't want to touch the orange, back full throttle, and then I just unwind the wheel, try to. I just got on it, so on the white line. See, that's still a valid lap, so you could use a curb, it's fine, but don't use it too much, especially in the rain.
In the wet, it's a pain in the ass, right? Because you're putting 600 horsepower down on slippery curbing.
Yeah. But you need to get back, like, I will guess, you need to get back by the end of this. You need to have your wheel, you cannot stay, because next corner is the white line, so you need to get back on the track before the end. I'm guessing I've never tried it, but I'm guessing it's there. So anyway, I'll be back, like, probably really fast after that. I'm back on the white line. There.
Just made it.
Yeah.
Yeah. In the drive. Well, I'll probably not do that in the wet. Trying to avoid all the curb, because for next one, it's like turn one. I'm braking while having my tire on the green, the right tire on the green, just to have as much track as possible. But in the wet, it's not possible to brake on the green stuff, green banks.
There's a trap that a lot of people fall into too. If they overrun the corner before and they end up wide, the car that's behind them will slide up next to them and then not accelerate any farther, just to hold them out. And so you're stuck off the track in a really low grip area, and you just go straight. So you need to pay attention, especially if someone's following you really closely, if you fall off there, that someone doesn't basically box you out. Because otherwise you're stuck out there and it takes forever to turn, and it's, even in the wet there's still crappy offline clag and crap there, so it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. So you want to make sure you've got your position well defended before someone runs up next to you.
Yeah. Coming to last corner, what I'm using is so you have a couple things. You have the 50-meter board that's in front of you there. There's the line, it's just there.
The pit entrance.
Yeah, the pit entrance. You have, if you go back just a tiny bit, you have the road is there, so you have plenty of things that could help you for this corner. So it's between here, you have all those, you have plenty of thing here. So
far in the rain, the access road on the right seems to be pretty good for most cars.
Yeah, I'll say so too. It's pretty much just after the road. When I'm losing it, then I will start to brake in a dry, like right here. So it should be beginning of the road. Probably in the rain will be a good spot. So again, this corner, you don't want to touch the orange curb. We still have that giant orange pyramid curve here. Same thing, don't want to hit those one, and on the exit, you don't want to hit one of those. Again, it's gonna jump your car. You're gonna lose a bunch of speed for that small straight, but still long enough that someone have a good exit here could make a pass on turn one.
I'm sorry, did you say small straight?
It's not the big one on the back.
True, but you got the big uphill to do.
Yeah,
You need all the acceleration you can get for that monster hill.
yeah.
We were
Like-
talking about that earlier in HOP, and it turns out that the top of the hill, the highest point, is actually taller than the pit lane's buildings.
Yeah.
Good
On
grief.
for you that playing on flat screen, doesn't seem that big, but when you're playing in VR, it's pretty steep. It's really steep when you go there. Again, corner exit, back full throttle.
Ooh, oversteer.
Yeah,
And the curbing. Don't forget the death curbing.
didn't touch it.
Not for you, for everybody else.
Oh, yeah.
Because a lot of people, they get here and then they get lazy at the last fucking second, right? And they're like, oh, I'm done, I'll just run wide, and then they wonder why they're pogoing through the air.
So yeah, we'll just do the last two corner full speed, so you could have.
You know, Devin, what we should also do is have them every once in a while on purpose run over the biggest curbs, just to see what it's like.
Right? Actually, honestly, that's not a bad idea, because if you do it once, then you're like, oh god, I will never do that again. If you're always like really, really close to it and you never know, then you get lazy, and then one time you slip because you're trying to do the entry or something, and then you hit it and it's like punching a wall. So like, I probably, if you're by yourself once, just do it once, just to see how terrible it is. It's fucking awful.
Yeah, they are really rough here, the curve. Like on the exit,
They're almost spaced closely and far enough apart that you end up like rodeo.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
And it is in Texas, so
True.
and all the one on the exit, you lose so much speed. Well, if you hit those, you could just say bye to your time.
Mm-hmm.
So let's watch the speed.
would anybody say that this track has not poor grip, but less than optimal, even on an optimum track? I've noticed that it's fairly slick all the time.
I mean, I think a lot of it is just like a lot of it's off camber or flat camber. There's not really a lot to help you out with it.
It's also just really fast. So you do a lot of lateral loading, going really fast.
Yeah, it's a tricky track. There's everything on this track. So section 1 is just like those fast SS. You have the long straight, and then you have that slow section at the end. So could be a really tricky track. Yeah, any question on any part of the lap?
Racing anybody around this track? Because I haven't heard much of that.
I was actually about to ask about the S's. I mean, the S's are super, super tight. In the wet, is it even worth trying to pass someone there, or is it better just to back off and try to get them into the upcoming almost hairpin?
Have you driven Suzuki lately?
Yeah, honestly, I would say most of the time wait, right? Like, you gotta ask yourself, is there a place that I can get alongside the car in front that gives them enough time to see that I'm alongside them, that gives them enough time to adjust so that we don't die?
Before the track changes direction the
Before
other
the
way.
track changes direction, exactly. No, right? Like, if they miss the corner and understeer, that's their fault for sucking, right? So that's fine. That's an easy goal. But if you're battling them as per normal, the first sector is really hard, if not impossible, to do that and give the guy enough respectful time to be like, I'm being passed. Where, like, sector 2 is a gimme. It's pretty much straight in 2 turns. And then sector 3, you can do it in a couple places where, like, I can see that car and be like, oh, all right, I'm getting past. That sucks. But sector 1's a fast left, right, left, right, left, right sort of thing. Like, highly not recommended.
Yeah, not even at a dry. I'll just
Yeah.
follow. Not even the rain. If you touch the curb there in the rain, you're gonna be done.
Remember, Ryan, we talked about this earlier in our DM about when to pass and some of the better places to expect it and or to initiate it. You have to be able to plan out the pass ahead of time. 2 or 3 laps behind somebody is generally a good idea, only because you start to understand, you learn their line, you learn their mistakes, and it's not too much time that you're going to lose being behind somebody or trying to figure out where a good place is to pass somebody who is on your level. And at the same time, you need to make sure that he also knows that you're coming too. So a setup going down into 11 before the long straight is probably not a bad place, because you can come up that hill and kind of sneak in behind somebody, use the short straight and get beside him, then force him to go slightly wide and have a bad exit on the corner before the long straight. And that's technically how you should set up a pass, is on the exit of the previous corner.
Got it. All right.
And you have plenty
The
of
big-
place here to pass. There's more than one spot to pass, so turn 1 could be a good one. You have the airpin, turn 11, and after the straight 12, that they are much safer than any other place.
Well, also too, like the biggest waste is people doing half-hearted attacks that all it does is compromise the car in front's line, making so they can't turn while you're not even passing. So you're just playing with each other, and you lose so much time. It's obviously it's the most frustrating thing, especially like in the beginning of a race when you really need to get into a rhythm and you need to really kind of get settled in and you need to just drive away from the slow people that are around you, and people are just like tickling each other for the first 3 or 4 laps. Like you waste more net time both driving offline than just working together, right? When Randy and I were racing in Zandvoort last week, that's pretty much what I did. I got to him, I paired up with him, and we drove together. And unless he made some big, like, obviously bad move, I'm not going to try to really race him, because I'm not going to be able to get in front of him and then get to the guy in front of him, like, in enough time. We're going to lose so much more time being next to each other, net lose out. So I just sat with him, and we drove together. And then whoever was faster just kind of made their way ahead. It made way more sense. And, like, the sooner you learn to do that, the better your races will be, because you're not constantly being attacked on lap 1 by someone who doesn't really know how to attack. You just kind of get away.
Got it. All right.
Now, for those who may or may not understand what air is under a race car, when you have a moment, go to the House of Practice chat and look at the picture that was left behind by Brendan Mons. I don't know exactly how he did it, but he did it. I'm assuming that's over one of those big triangular curbs or something necessarily like that.
I
They're
don't
like
think
straight down
there's.
the section.
It was at. I think it was like turn 9, so I don't think there's big curve there. It was. I think it was like here.
Yeah, I had spun. I was trying to battle Mike, and I'd spun. I was trying to catch up, so I just straight line through a bunch of stuff to catch back up to him, and happened to launch over that grassy knoll.
Okay.
I came in my rear view like the Dukes of Hazzard.
Hey, Greg, go ahead and post your picture again.
Okay.
He sent one into one of our DMs, and there's a lot of air under his car, and I can tell you exactly where it's at.
Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck, dude, I've done that.
You
Yeah.
want me to put it in rookie chat, or where you might put it?
House of Practice.
Yeah, put it in HOP chat, yeah. Oh, yeah, I've launched a car here. So fucking frustrating, too, because you feel so stupid.
I think it was like 15 or 16 or something like that where you did this.
Yeah, dude. Oh, yeah, I did that in the race once coming out of 15, and it's just like, just felt like such a fucking dumbass.
And there it is. I think the only higher car we've ever seen, Devin, was at what, Silverstone?
Oh, yeah.
When what was
Oh,
it?
when
Perez
he
went over me.
Yeah, that's the best one I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I should try. I have one Misano in the AMG. I had those orange curb on the exit, at first sector before the straight, and like the front was like almost 90 degrees up in the air.
I was just thinking of R. Kelly every time.
I should share mine.
I was thinking of R. Kelly every time. Just I believe I can fly. Like every time, just come flying.
Yeah.
You thought of R. Kelly because you were pissing yourself.
I knew you were gonna get there too. I knew you were gonna get there. Oh my god, that's funny.
But literally, those. It looks like you may have hit what, 2 of those there, Greg?
Yeah,
And the second one sent you the highest.
I hit the first one and then put the throttle to the floor just to see what it would do, and
Kills you.
yeah, it launches the car.
So for those of you who don't know, that's what air calls for.
Yeah. Dance is a horrible death.
Hey, Michael.
Yep.
Can you just do corners 17 and 18 again? The big U for on our map 16, 17, 18.
From the inside?
Sure. Just want to see that throttle.
Now remember, when he does the lift, it's to allow the front end to give a little bit more grip because you sort of lean forward a tiny bit. Because remember, weight transfer is very important for the front wheels.
Mm-hmm. So the lift is between, like, yeah, you said Apex 1 and 2.
Yeah, it's just between 1 and 2.
It will be here.
There's a little bit of a rise right between, say, 2 and 3. The track kind of does a small uphill, so you're kind of losing grip. Like, you notice how the track kind of lifts up here, and then it starts to kind of gently go back down again. There's a very small elevation change. But then again, he's got so much speed coming through there on a very hard turn for a very long period of time. The tires are warming up and getting hotter and hotter and hotter. And then you need to have that slight lift to allow the tires to just not really cool off, but to gain their grip again. Because you can literally hold the throttle down for too long and it just lets the car push all the way out into nowhere.
Because you're lifting the rear in the air, or the front in the air, and so the car's never turning.
Yeah, that's the weight shift we're talking about.
That's probably like the most fundamental piece of information that I think most folks just don't take the time to learn about is weight shifting in their car. Like they experience it literally every single day they drive their actual road car, but they're not really thinking about it in a racing context. So when they start moving quickly, it's a way to balance the car dynamically. And the sooner you figure that out, the faster you will be.
Yeah, I usually tell most people it's like sitting in a rocking chair. When you accelerate or push down on the throttle, what happens? You want to lean back. It pushes you back in the seat. So like if you leaned your head back a little bit in a rocking chair, you're going to lean towards the back of the, towards the back of the chair. And then if you lean your head forward, which is under deceleration, say, braking or releasing the throttle, that's when the car gently wants to roll back forward or more towards the front of the chair kind of feeling. So it is very fine tuning of balancing the car when it comes to this type of speed.
It'll help you too when you're trying to figure out if you need to make a setup change, because you'll basically be able to say, I've tried to balance the weight as many different times as I can. The car's still doing something I don't want it to do. Now I want to make a change. What a lot of people do is they weight shift badly, then they make a setup change and ruin the car other places, and then it's just harder to handle while they're still weight shifting badly.
So does anybody want to get on the track and do some wet laps?
Yeah, I might go do a couple laps.